people who like theater for young audience should definitely come. And I think theater for young audience as a concept need to be expanded because I think theater audience should be fun for both kids and adults. So adults should come too. Um, and there are I'm not saying the other shows in Hollywood Fringe are not as good as ours. I'm saying there are a lot of solo shows, but you don't see a lot of shows with 10 cast members with that many bodies on stage. We really can create some theater magic. Because a lot of time theater is about bodies and the physicality. What else? I think speaking of how many bodies on stage, I just want to say that this story, although it's a coming of age story of this 9-year-old little girl, it's also about the other characters, and each character has a, a lot of personality and has their own storyline. For example, the grandma, for example, the mom, for example, the bird columnist that a little Zhigong loves reading. Um, for example, the adult version of our protagonist. For example, the cat hamster. Like you even get to know about the origin story and the whole story of a little hamster, and there's also a dialogues of these two passengers on the bus, and so it's not a classic 1 act or 3 act play. I would say it's more like a photo album or a constellation with many moments and many characters um, that's has that's connected by a central theme, and they're all in this photo album where you can just flip through and you're like, oh wow, this this scene is the style is exposed, and this scene is more saturated color, and this scene is it's intimate and it's a little bit sad, and this photo uh, has a lot of puppets in it. So you're just like flipping this album, and I'm sure one of the picture will hit you.
The most the most realistic answer is it is a huge show and we're selling it at a extremely cheap price. We have 9 actors. They're all excellent actors from great schools, and we have designers from top schools as well. And we've spent a whole lot of money on this, but that is a very realistic answer. But I think a more genuine answer is I think this is a very private story that is universal in its theme. And I believe that people will find moments in this play that will truly impress them and live with them even after they leave this theater. Hi, my name is Gefei Liu. If you want to learn more about my play Birds and the Curiosity, written by me and Olivia Xing, please check out this video.
Hi, I'm Olivia Xing. I'm the playwright and director of Birds and the Curiosity. In this video, I'll talk about why I love theater, how I've started, what I'm doing now with Birds and the Curiosity, and why you should come see this play at Hollywood Fringe Festival.
I always I think I always knew that there are French festivals all over the world. But I think I first heard of Hollywood Fringe when I came here. I mean in year 2021, or yeah, in 2021, I think.
I found out about Fringe Festival last year because a lot of friends from CalArts put on a show there. And I love theater festival. I've been to that's one of the biggest international festival in the world, Avignon, at the southern France. And I always wanted to be part of a theater festival. Like, how fun is that? Um, and to have fun. That's that's why I joined Holland Fringe. The idea come from a talk with between me and my co-writer, and Gefei was talking about how like sometimes she just think about the issue that she has now and start blaming on her childhood. It's a thing we all do, you know? We're like, this happened because this happened in the past. So now I'm this. I'm not I'm not doing this right now because I never was able to do this, or like it it's a it's limiting though, and it's not being present. So we're like, what if this adult has the same problem as we have? We're like, well, all our problem is because something we experienced in our childhood. But like, what if this adult go back to childhood and realize, oh, I can, instead of helping her, I can actually learn more from her. Like if actually I possess all the qualities in my authentic self and I forgot them on the way of growing up. And I wasn't this unfortunate child. I had the support of my family and friend. Also, I'm speaking this in the individual cases. I'm not just when I say we, it's like the playwright. I'm not saying everyone had a happy childhood with support of family friends. Um, but I do want to say that how to survive our childhood now that we're adult. It's not about blaming the childhood, uh, being obsessed with what had happened. It's about being present. And so the protagonist, the future, the adult self, the adult version of our protagonist travel back and then travel back to her present time and and started to think that the way I survived my childhood, present now that I'm an adult, it's to be an adult and to be myself and love who I am, find who I am and love who I am and move forward instead of go moving backwards. So we wrote like two, three, many versions of this story. There's a few of them, the earlier stages of this story, it's told from this adult perspective, looking back to childhood. And they were like, no, 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 no. It's not, wait, but this, has she figured out? She figured out where's she gonna go? And but we honestly we don't really know. We don't really know yet. And because this piece is really personal, want to stay true because we haven't figured out. We're still 20 something year old. We're like, we could write from the how we were, how we felt, and the emotion, the ecstasy, and as well as the calamity we felt as a kid for tiny little things, from sharing a snack to like losing a favorite sticker, and just like this tiny little thing creates such huge emotion in us, and we're like, we remember all of that, we could write all of that, and we could let the younger self teach the adult self something.
The themes are multiple, but I think the most important one is to find your authentic self. And other minor themes includes a children's creative agency and the loss of your loved ones, and also how to accept yourself as you are.
Why it's my puppets, marionettes are better actors? It's because they have no ego. Um, and it's true. They do things because they do things. And they don't really care how their hair look like. And a lot of human actor can't do that, me included. It's we just naturally, we always carry an ego. Puppets don't. And when I'm manipulating puppet, I sort of let go of my ego too. Because, people are not looking at you, people are looking at the puppet. So now with this piece, Birth and the Curiosity, why do we want to include puppets in this piece? Because it's really about this 9-year-old girl going through life and encounter some calamity in the first time, bullying, body image issue, can't fit in a piece of costume. Why are my friends laughing at me? Why did Nana pass away? And why is my pet hamster also going to die at some point? And why do people have to leave? Why do I have to lose things? Why can't I be happy all the time? But she's dealing with such a childish and innocent and joyful and hopeful way. Like when she feels caged because the Chinese teacher misspies control. So at the day, she saw ostrich free running on the highway, and is it imagination or is it real? We don't know. But that's how kids see the world, right? They see the possibility of the world, and they see it with you could say unfiltered, or with a filter that makes it even more true to how the world should be experienced. It just like we wanted to free. It is like the wonderment. It's so important to um this piece. So we thought, oh, you know what? I bet we can't hire a real ostrich, but we could make a giant full body puppet that's a shiny ostrich that walk through the aisle of the audience. So to make it just a little bit more immersive. And so the audience is invited to little Robin's, little Zhigeng's part of the world, and how audience see how she see the world. That where audience is not caged, where the hamster hamster singing, and where the what else do where there's like after Nana after Nana died, a bird visited us, and it sort of sounded like Nana. Um, so it's about, again, it's about dealing trauma. But you know, theater has always have a soft way to deal with trauma. It's just it's magic. And also there's a theater section in the play that is about uh, an adaptation of Ugly Duckling. Because Ugly Duckling kind of teaches kids a wrong message. Like you couldn't bully someone because what? Because they will turn into a beautiful white swan? No, just you should be kind to someone no matter how they look. And you know what? It's okay to just be an ugly duckling because it's not about being ugly. It's just ugly duckling is not ugly. It's ugly duckling just looked different from the brother and sisters. And it's okay to be different. Don't have to be swan. So the story of Ugly Duckling should be about discovering who you are and who you always have been. You don't have to have a magical makeover or transformation. And so our 9-year-old protagonist rewrite the story in the play. So it's a play in a play, and put on this little toy theater with two of her best friend. That's about ducklings, and they learn about each other, and they learn about how everyone's different from one another, which makes us all the same.
I think I want the audience when they are when they are walking out of the theater, I want them to feel like, wow, this is theater. I This sounds a little bit ambitious, but I want to redefine theater for them to make them feel like, oh, theater isn't just Shakespeare. Theater isn't just serious, expensive stuff. Theater is accessible, it's fun.
What I want the audience to get out of this production is um, some laughs, some um, some um, other emotions, some laughs. What I want my audience to get out of this piece is an experience that make them kind of sometimes happy, sometimes moved, sometimes kind of sad, but eventually some hopes. Um, and to all the kids that will see the show, I want to say, you, if anyone can overturn this capitalist and hierarchical and bad theater system, this, and make more experimental and beautiful and heartfelt pieces, is the young, is the next generation. And honestly, not only in theater, I hope you can, the kids will see this play and feel like I could change the world. And I hope the adults see this play and feel like I can still change the world.
I'm really looking forward to hear some feedback from the audience, um, especially the kids. We're now marketing the show as a family friendly show, and there will be a lot of kids coming to see our show. And this is quite a new experience for me because this is like my first kids friendly show, and I think they will have some completely different reaction than adults, and that will be fun.
People who like theater for young audience should definitely come. And I think theater for young audience as a concept need to be expanded. because I think theater audience should be fun for both kids and adults. So adults should come too. Um, and there are this is I'm not saying the other shows in Hollywood Fringe are not as good as ours. I'm saying there are a lot of solo shows, but you don't see a lot of shows with 10 cast members with that many bodies on stage. We really can create some theater magic. Because a lot of a lot of time theater is about bodies and the physicality. Um, what else? I think speaking of how many bodies on stage, I just want to say that this story, although it's a coming of age story of this 9-year-old little girl, it's also about the other characters, and each character has a, a lot of personality and has their own storyline. For example, the grandma, for example, the mom, for example, the bird columnist that a little Zhigong loves reading. Um, for example, the adult version of our protagonist. For example, the cat hamster. Like you even get to know about the origin story and the whole story of a little hamster, and there's also a dialogues of these two passengers on the bus, and so it's not a classic one act or three act play. I would say it's more like a photo album or a constellation, um, with many moments and many characters. Um, that's has that's connected by a central theme, um, and they're all in this photo album where you can just flip through and you're like, oh wow, this this scene is the style is exposed, and this scene is more saturated color, and this scene is it's intimate and it's a little bit sad, and this photo uh, has a lot of puppets in it. So you're just like flipping this album, and I'm sure one of the picture will hit you.
The most the most realistic answer is it is a huge show and we're selling it at a extremely cheap price. We have 9 actors. They're all excellent actors from great schools, and we have designers from top schools as well. And we've spent a whole lot of money on this, but that is a very realistic answer. But I think a more genuine answer is I think this is a very private story that is universal in its theme. And I believe that people will find moments in this play that will truly impress them and live with them even after they leave this theater. We've been to the French cabaret and French runway, bringing our show to those events, French events, and we've met some other French people there. And I mean, after being to those events, I feel like I want to see all the French shows because they all look so different, and all the artists, they're just all so passionate about their own productions. And they're all selling it at such a cheap price. I mean, I mean, I'm constantly talking about money, but I mean, the point is, You will get to see all the different forms of art um, in Fringe Festival and just the diversity of art forms.
Why do you have to go to Hollywood Fringe? Because Hollywood Fringe Festival make theater accessible. The space rent is cheaper for the artist, and everyone's excited for this event. So like everyone gathered to make many pieces, and it's the ticket sales are cheaper to make theater accessible for the audience. So the accessibility of theater is something that it's really important to me. Like for our piece, we even organized bus to pick up kids from San Gabriel who are from recently disrooted immigrant family and low-income families to come see a theater because we want to make theater accessible. So if you want to be part of this movement to make theater accessible, you should you should come see shows. I believe artists should be paid, art should be free or cheap. and 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 this is what I was talking about the power of storytelling, right? If we all believe in the same thing, it will work. So if you participate in Hollywood Fringe, you participate in the storytelling that art is accessible and amazing, and art is freedom and a celebration of human connection. Doesn't that sound grand? Come to the Hollywood Fringe Festival.
Hi, my name is Gefei Liu. My play Birds and the Curiosity, written by me and my friend Olivia Xing, will come to Hudson Theatres Mainstage this June. There will be shadow puppets, a giant ostrich, a hamster singing, and a lot of other fun stuff happening in this show. It's family friendly, but it's also welcoming all age audiences. Um, you will laugh for sure. You will probably cry a little bit if you're emotional. But anyways, it is a story that I believe should be heard by everybody. And please come to see Birds and the Curiosity. See you at the theater.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm the director and playwright of Birds and the Curiosity. Please to come see our show for the new theater for audience and AAPI piece, Birds and the Curiosity, 鸟语好奇号. It's a coming of age story of the 9-year-old Chinese girl and her time traveling future self, and many birds and a singing hamster. Want to know more? Come see our show at Hudson Theatre from June 9th to 25th during the Hollywood Fringe Festival.